Welcome, Starfinders, to episode 4 of Cosmic Crit, a Starfinder actual play podcast. I'm Jabert, your favorite player, your downside gang slayer, and your podcast mayor. Guys, thank you so much for downloading and listening. Thank you for leaving us those 5-star reviews on iTunes. Those really help us out a whole bunch. They help us get the show out to new folks, which is just so critical to help this podcast be successful and reach enough folks, make this a thing we can do for the rest of recorded time, or at least until the gap starts. So, if you haven't reviewed us, go do that right now while you're thinking about it. Not if you're driving, that's dangerous. But as soon as you're not driving, why don't you take that review thing out for a spin and help us out? Also, we really heavily rely on word of mouth to reach new listeners. If you've got a gaming group or friends and family who are interested in podcasts that you think might enjoy this show, let them borrow your earbuds for an hour or so. Well, don't do that, because those are your ear germs, and you keep those. You keep them in your ears. Let them listen on their own earbuds, but do tell them about the show. Just popping back in to tell you about a new thing which you may have already seen over on Twitter, Facebook, or Reddit. It's Cosmic Crit's first listener submission challenge. We would like you to write up an NPC. We're going to select 3 of the NPCs you create, and they will appear on a future episode of Cosmic Crit. When you submit, be sure to include the NPC's name, their preferred pronouns, their race, their occupation, a short bio, and any other extra info you wish for us to be aware of. You can submit your NPC by writing to cosmiccrit@gmail.com. We'll also be taking submissions over on the Cosmic Crit Facebook page. For more information, go to cosmiccrit.com. Thanks so much, and anyway, I'm going to get out of your ear holes and kick it back over to Patrick so we can start this episode up. Get ready for episode 4, Paperwork on Absalom Station. I'm kidding. It's called the Kreel Deal.
Last time on Cosmic Crit.
I refuse to talk to the police and be helpful in any way whatsoever. We fought some goblins.
The goblins put us to the test with a murder bot, which we deftly defeated.
Metalhead went down.
The team learned that goblins can be philosophers too.
Philosophoblins? We got snacks, and they were stamina restoring.
Gnak learned that you could not roll a sense motive on snacks.
Episode commencing in 3, 2, 1. Episode initiated.
Oh boy! Episode number 4. How are you guys doing?
So good.
Oh, I don't believe you. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing great.
Real quick introductions. Round the digital table. To my left is Drew. Hi, Drew.
Hello.
To his left is Jabert. What up, Jabert?
Hey everybody, I'm Jabert. I'm playing Andis.
Well, now I have to go back and say who I'm playing.
Good evening.
Miles, say good evening again.
Good evening.
Good. Ooh, it's very good evening. And to his left, Rebecca. Hey, Rebecca.
Hello.
And definitely not least, but certainly last, Tyler.
Hello.
Are you making fun of me?
That was dynamite impression.
Was it good? No, I was just trying to use my best girl voice. I wasn't making fun of your voice. I was just trying to be the best girl voice, and I don't have a lot of models. So
that was definitely
I went with
Rebecca.
I went with your I went with your little diphthong of voice and volume, but that came out bad. I shouldn't have done that.
You just made me throw my pencil.
Did you break your pencil?
If it helps, I've been drinking. It's not
We've all been, I'm sure. Do you guys have Labor Day plans? Labor Day's coming up.
DragonCon.
DragonCon.
Is that
I wish I could go. I want to be there so bad. I'm so jealous of you guys.
I think it'll be Labor Day when this episode comes out next week.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, you guys should come down to DragonCon and
meet those of us that will be there. It's going to be a good time. We're going to try to schmooze with some Paizo folks, and it's going to be fun.
At that point, I will have moved into my new house. And
Yay!
Wow.
At that point, as of the next time you guys hear me in my new house, I'll have up some baffling, so like all this like echoing that's happening right now, not going to be as much of the case.
Yeah,
You'll be in the podcast dungeon.
Exactly, that's exactly what I'll be at.
You'll be confined to the dungeon space.
Well, can I just describe what I'm in right now? I'm in basically a closet, and I have my dresser just kind of like pulled up into the door just because it happens to fit against the door, and then I've got a piece of cardboard sitting on top of that to kind of really block me in here. And whenever I exit this dungeon, it feels like I'm coming out of like a vault in like Fallout or something.
that sounds bad, but not as bad as Patrick's little tent he set up.
Oh yeah,
spooky tent.
I'll put it up on the Twitter. But yes, that I don't have it up right now, but I kind of wish I did because it was a fun little blanket fort that I made.
Yeah,
for
Patrick, I'm sorry, bud. It made no difference in your audio quality.
Well, yeah,
but it was so much fun knowing that you were in like a ghost costume. It was like twice your size. You looked like a giant ghost, and it was amazing. And I love.
Can do.
I like I said, I do want to bring that back. But what I really want to do right now is get back into the action, guys. Where were we? What happened last week?
Well, last week was a lot of political stuff. We had to talk to the security officer who came in and checked on the carnage that was our fight with the Dockside Kings and what are the other guys?
Level 21
Level 21 crew.
Level 21 crew. They weren't as effective in the fight, so I don't remember them as much.
I believe there was a robot in a box.
It's my robot in a box.
Yeah, some goblins put us up to this murder bot or something like that, and we totally murdered the murder bot.
They were philosophers.
They were poetry.
They were. I was going to say they were philosopher goblins, and also Andus used the power of honesty to get us into a meeting with kids.
That's. Oh yeah, I forgot.
I'm not gonna write it out phonetically.
We have a dead guy's data pad.
I like you just being trying to repeat what I'm repeating. So we're gonna continue down that path. No one. Just. Why can't you say that? Yes, Drew's got it. There you go. Perfect.
Yes, we all know how to pronounce Chex Mix.
All right, that's
I like
canon
Fiddle
now.
Faddle.
That's canon. His name is Chex Mix.
Yeah, so, all right. So last week, the most exciting ending to an episode of Cosmic Crit yet. We found you guys doing paperwork in an office building, basically.
Yes.
In the conference room of an office building. But what happened that closed us off was there was a late-breaking news story that cut into the programming on the vid screen. Mm-hmm. So there's two newscasters behind a desk overlooking the park in the eye, and this is like a pretty major news channel, Channel 0 or Station 0. So you see the two newscasters, and one of them says, "Breaking news from beyond the Armada. A vessel with a missing call insignia has brought an asteroid to within Absalom Station's orbit. Absalom Station News Channel 0 has exclusive information on the ghost ship. Our sources have identified the ship that exited drift space a few days ago as the Acreon, a mining vessel that was reported missing last second day. The Acreon's crew's whereabouts are unknown at this moment. Station security and Pact World Defense Forces have detained the asteroid it was hauling and are following quarantine protocols while investigations are underway. Please follow our InfoSphere data stream for news alerts regarding this story and more at the ASNC0 feed."
Andus uses the data pad to follow the info stream. He navigates to it and he clicks follow.
I'm gonna need a very simple computer check from Andus.
That's a 25.
Yeah, so you follow all the Twitters that they have. You follow everything ASNC0 has putting out there. You are also able to connect to the Wi-Fi in the Starfinder Society. Not an easy task. So
how about that?
Yeah, that's what you get with 25.
Well done.
Yeah, so I mean, you can read about that and you can get more information about that later. But that cuts in. You guys might have heard rumblings about this before. It's kind of a serious thing when unidentified ships come into Absalom Station's orbit, because if someone drops a rock on Absalom Station, then hey, millions of people die. So it was a hubbub a few days ago.
Was it just that the ship was running dark, or did it literally just like appear out of the drift?
Yeah, unfortunately, there's like very few details. There's like tons of rumors going around about what happened, but it just appeared out of the drift, and it was hauling a huge rock behind, like an asteroid.
Interesting.
Can I make a simple culture check to see what those rumors were?
Yeah. See if you heard some. Maybe you heard some in the HUD bar the previous night when you were just minding your own business and got attacked by the strong Absalom movement.
Or on Twitter just now. I mean, he did just follow all of Twitter, apparently.
You followed all the Twitters.
Space Twitter.
Oh, hey, how about that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you might have heard some rumors. People were talking about all the crew is dead, or all the crew were taken hostage. Just everything flying around. There's no solid information, so all the rumors are the craziest thing that people can come up with.
Okay.
Great. So after several minutes, you guys are filling out the paperwork and the data pad. You're enjoying the snacks here in the conference room of the Starfinder Society. A mid-level kind of functionary, another intermediary, comes and says, "Oh, hello all. Thank you for your patience. If you follow me, I will escort you to Jisk's office."
Very
Thank
good.
you.
So this gentleman leads you towards a turbo lift in the center of the building, and you guys ascend several floors up the spire and led into a large office with what looks like artifacts and relics from several places around the Pact Worlds and beyond, different planets, all kinds of things adorning the walls. Most of them seem Shirren, or maybe swarm related, so there's a lot of small totems and sculptures of like insectoid races lining the shelves to one side. And what you see sitting behind the desk is a simple Shirren, moderate dress clothes, with a Starfinder Society insignia on them. Anybody that has life science or want to do a culture check for me, you can go ahead and roll that now.
I've got life science.
I have rolled a 20 culture, and
So 15 plus 5.
Plus 7, so 14.
and I'm also adding 4 to my expertise die.
Oh boy, 24. So both you and Raimi, Mac and Raimi, know well that this is a Shirren, and it is not a male nor a female. It is the third Shirren sex, gender, often referred to as a host, and they use the pronouns they, them, and themself. And you are to assume this is Jiskis sitting behind the desk. So you guys are ushered into the room. The Shirren at the desk stands as you enter, their antennae twitching slightly, which you might have seen in another Shirren before, is kind of like an unsettling, or just kind of like twiddling their thumbs. They sit when you are all inside, and they make a hand gesture and invite you to do the same. There's like a couch in the back of the room, and there are 2 chairs right before the desk. Who wants a chair front and center?
I sit in the middle of the couch. I force 2 people to sit down next to me.
I'll sit next
Andrew-
to Andis.
I should. I'm a good talker. I should probably sit down as well.
I'll take Edris would take a chair.
I remain standing.
Ever the rebel, Raimi Stander. Oh man,
I'll just lean against the door frame.
such a simple question, but that answered so many things about your characters. I love that.
Just to confirm, Andis did not scoot over. He's still sitting way too close to Alyndra.
Did you like line up the
He looks
exact
very
center?
uncomfortable.
Right.
Hey there.
It might be a love seat. I'm not certain.
Right, so as you guys get comfortable or don't really, telepathically, the Shirren speaks into your head and says,
Please, may I send for anything for you? I like tea. I also like soda and coffee, perhaps filtered water or juice, an intoxicant. I do not imbibe at work, but I do not judge. After all, you seem to have had some morning getting to here. Would any of you like anything?
Andis would like a tea.
she like taps some things on the keyboard.
Yeah, rye whiskey.
Oh, wow, okay. Yes, that is something that I guess we can get.
I would like a cred stick with 350 credits on it.
Not a beverage, but I'm writing it down.
Nothing for me, thank you.
Edris is fine as well.
All right. So yeah, maybe a moment later, that same intermediary Starfinder comes in with rye whiskey and what was the rest?
Tea?
And
Tea. Oh,
And
great
350
combo.
credits.
Where's my 350 cred stick?
Right. I look at Raimi and I say, but if we combine your whiskey and my tea,
I like where your head's at, buddy.
yeah,
Got whisk tea is what it's called. Whisk tea. So yeah, once again, the Chiskis, they are speaking telepathically to you guys, and they say,
Why are you not here without Mr. Kreel? Was he not on the transport vessel?
Oh, he was.
Can I do
For a
a
little bit.
can I do a diplomacy check to ensure to make sure that we let this Shirren down easy about the death of his friend?
He's fucking dead.
Jesus.
And that's
Jesus, Raimi.
Have some tact.
Go ahead and make me a diplomacy check, Gnak.
And that's
Also, there
that's
goes
plus so I rolled an 8. That's plus 7. What is that? 15.
Yeah. So you might start. What do you say to break the news?
Well,
Oh, I just did.
you see, he called us out there to talk to him, and suddenly there was a fight. Don't know if he was involved, don't know if he knew what was about to happen, but he was taken down pretty quickly. But we determined to get here to make sure that we fulfilled our part of the agreement.
The Shirren does some tapping on a computer in front of them.
Yes. Okay. I see now the report. I'm sorry that I cannot welcome you to Absalom Station under better circumstances. I wish I could assure you that such violence is not a daily occurrence this side of the spike, though even if I did, I realize that is likely small comfort to you.
Well, can anyone truly be welcome on Absalom Station? Let's be honest.
I wish we were able to meet in better circumstances, but I am pleased none of you seem to be seriously hurt. But I grieve for Kreel's death. He was a valued member of the society and a dear friend.
I regret your loss.
Thank you.
Do you have any idea what he wanted us to work on, or why he was calling us to that particular location?
The Shirren seems to be in their own mind, perhaps saying a prayer. They look back up and says,
I'm sorry, but what was your question?
And do you know why he called us there?
Yes, he was putting you together for perhaps teamwork. He was looking to get some new recruits. We had set up a conference room for your training this morning.
Was there a specific purpose to the formation of this team?
The Starfinder Society is very short on manpower these days. Creds, we have resources, but good people that know their way around the station and the Pact Worlds. We are in dire need. He was a recruiter and a trainer and a liaison, one of the best.
Andis leans forward like slightly, even though the sofa is like several feet away from Gnak's chair, and Andis leans forward and says, "Ask them if it's possible he was assassinated." As though it were like quiet and like a secret, but like perfectly loud enough for everyone to hear.
Including Jessica. Okay.
Edris just like, is there any reason that the gang members might have assassinated Kreel for any particular reason that you might know of?
They lean forward and they're looking at their computer screen and they type out, a couple more things. Chiska says,
What puzzles me is the reasons behind this attack. According here to the Security Corps' incident report, the two gangs involved Downside Kings, level 21 crew. While the violence is not uncommon on the station, gang wars do break out. They usually confine themselves to more lawless sectors in the spike, perhaps the puddles. It is very rare for street gangs to battle openly in public areas like the docks.
Yeah, that's why we think Kreel may have been involved and part of the reason why they were fighting there.
Unfortunately, he was off station and coming back via transport shuttle. Publicly listed, I suppose his information could have been hacked.
GM, I have a question.
Oh yeah.
So I don't have a +5 to culture checks against Underworld, but it's a -5 against culture checks to Underworld.
Yeah, for your theme, right?
Yes, for my outlaw theme, and
that came in use already. It's that's a great theme, especially with dealing with two gangs. Do you have a specific question you want to answer? Like,
I'm just wondering if
information you want to recall.
If there's anything that I know about either of these two gangs that might let me connect the deceased Starfinder Society member to a gang, or what one of these gangs might want to kill a Starfinder member over.
So yeah, just make a general. That's going to be a culture, general culture check. See, okay, so you rolled.
So I've rolled a 19, which should be against whatever -5. I'm gonna want to add my expertise die to this.
I'll stop you there because I mean you know really of no connective fibers between Starfinder Society, which are actually really kind of focused outward from Absalom Station. They're trying to solve mysteries about the expansive universe, and they kind of patrol outside on different worlds and go on missions and things like that. So they're kind of outwardly facing, and I guess most of the gangs on Absalom are kind of small potatoes compared, so nothing that you've heard of with these gangs or with the underworld has really run in the same circle as the Starfinder Society. So you actually find it would be very odd if for some reason these gangs decided, we have to go kill this one specific society member. You would think that would be very odd.
Do I know anything about... Well, I guess I don't need to know anything about why two gangs are fighting each other, because that makes sense in some way.
Yeah, no, that makes sense to you, but you are confused like Chiskus about, why would they be doing it in a docking bay, which is, pretty regularly patrolled. The police, the security corps' response time there is actually really good. So they would have known that they probably only had less than a minute to fight, before they had a retreat. So both those things are weird.
So that's an interesting point, and Andis doesn't necessarily know that. But so was the response time longer than it usually is?
No. We did a culture check earlier on the Absalom Security Corps, the ASC.
We're just really slow in combat so far.
They were they were there within like a minute or two, which is about the time it probably takes to get from the center of the arm. They were on like a hover vehicle.
Oh, okay. Because the time that we were taking was just like us searching, checking the bodies and that sort of thing.
Yeah, from the end of your fight in Bay 94 to them arriving on the scene was maybe like 2 minutes. Like it was very quick.
Okay.
Which is why you weren't able to run quickly away. So Chiskus hears you guys talking, hears Andis's question aloud, and they say,
I too cannot help but wonder whether all is as it seems. There must be a reason why those two gangs were at Docking Bay 94 at that time. The time of Kreel's arrival on the shuttle, coincidentally. But was it a coincidence?
Do we know what else was on board that transport vessel at that time?
I have schematics here. It was passengers from out on another ship in the Armada. Nothing seems out of the ordinary. No other society members were on board. I do not know exactly where Kreel was coming from. He did message me saying that he was off station and that he would be back tonight for drinks.
Do you think we could hunt down one of these gangs' hideouts and question them directly?
That is a possibility, but that is dangerous work. And if you were to take it up, I would want you to do it under the banner of the Starfinder Society, on our payroll.
Hey, if it's on your payroll, then I'm happy.
If you all are able to find out, was Kreel just an unlucky bystander, caught in the crossfire, or might he and you have been specifically targeted by these gangs? If so, why? There are many unknowns here, many possibilities, too many choices, too many loose threads. Yes.
Raimi finishes off his whiskey and is like, yeah, I have an unfinished question. What were you brought together for in the first place?
That is something Kreel was working on. He must have had some idea of a mission.
Any sort of data or notes or any official documentation of what our mission was supposed to be on?
That is something I wish we can ask Doravor if he were with us right now, but
Anda stops paying attention and starts trying to look for secured files on the data pad.
Sure. So you can make a computer check for me. Wow, man, so good at computers. 25.
Wow.
You find nothing, unfortunately, encrypted. Nothing. Actually looking through this data pad, it looks pretty stripped down. It doesn't look like he really used it at all. Imagine there are like some search bars that are installed and like some spam apps and things like that. It's like a person not very good with the infosphere, with the internet, their computer.
Like they just don't use it really.
Use it to send grandkid photos to their friends. not a whole lot. He wasn't really an old dwarf, but he didn't seem like he cared too much about this technology. It's probably something that he got as a Starfinder Society member, just so they can keep tabs on him. But he seemed a little more analog. But, good question. So, Chiskus is going back to the conversation, says,
Find out what happened and why. It may be a simple matter of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. I have no doubt station security will probably rule it so. But if Kreel was murdered, I would like to find justice for my friend.
All right.
So say we all.
Fair enough.
At the same time, this will give you an opportunity to demonstrate your own skills and abilities, and to add to your data file at the Society, and see if you're worthy of the title of a full Starfinder Society membership.
I do have one question.
Yes, Gnak.
Let's just say we do figure out what happened. What sort of payment might we be offered for this information?
That is an excellent question.
There's more tapping at the computer screen.
I could not forget this. Your signing bonus. We will have hardwired into your accounts.
You guys can check if you have a computer or data pad. You immediately get 200 credits added to each of your accounts.
Sweet.
Yes, in addition to the 150 from last week. So.
But if you guys want to divvy that up evenly from the gang members.
Yeah.
I don't, but I will.
So just because,
Awesome.
It gives you
Because
some more...
Andis knows math.
Chiskus gives you some more pleasantries, wishes you
Good luck.
and invites you to get settled in on the station if you haven't already, recommends hotels, and then asks you just to get started on the investigation. And that is your meeting there.
Awesome.
You guys are kind of set loose. What do you want to do?
As we're kind of walking out, I would kind of look over at Gnak and just be like, do you think you could drum up the locations of these Dockside Kings and
Downside Kings, but yes.
Level 21 crew? Figure out maybe where their home bases are, and then maybe we can pay them a little visit.
I have to ask you, why do you want to go looking for trouble? I have to ask you, these are small-time gangs. They were fighting each other. Yes, a Starfinder Society member was caught in the middle, but why do you want to go after these guys? It sounds like you're looking to punish these small fries, these little guys, these tiny little dudes for something that maybe they're not even that responsible for.
Hey, if it takes cracking the heads of some of the small fry so we can get to the big fry and I can get paid by the society folks, I'm down for it.
I'm just saying we might need to massage the situation a little bit before we go cracking skulls. Do you see what I'm saying? You hard boil the egg before you crack the shell, if that makes any sense.
I don't know who you want to go massage, but if you want to talk to somebody and you know someone to talk to, then give it a shot.
But I just want to make sure. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Just make an intelligence roll for me. You were on to something earlier, and I want to see if your character has got the same thing stuck in his little furry craw.
Yes, I'm.
Roll me a d20.
The d20.
A 12.
What's your intelligence modifier? Your bonus?
12.
No bonus to your
One.
intellect.
Wait, I'm sorry. My intelligence, that's ability score. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Maybe
Look at the modifier.
My modifier is 1.
So it's something you mentioned before, so you get a little bit of bonus here. But besides the gangs, you yourself found it really odd that they would focus on a Starfinder Society member. So if Gnak doesn't want to look into the gangs, maybe there's something, with Kreel. You can look into Kreel as well.
Okay. Should we maybe look into this so-called Starfinder Society member before we go after these these chumps, these pronking nobodies.
I mean, he was definitely a Starfinder Society guy. He had the badge, but if you want to check out, like, does he have an apartment? Is there a home we can go look at?
Andis can answer that.
Sorry.
Andis, was there anything on that data pad?
Wait, what?
Andis, was there anything on that data pad?
About the guy's home. Okay.
Yeah, you're in the middle of buying a home yourself. You should know the process.
I know. I'm just saying. I didn't realize that they were still using data pads for home purchases. And
I mean, there might be like a message or a note that says that he took residence up somewhere. You know, we're clutching at straws here. We don't have a lot to go on. Give us a break.
Andis, if you do look through his data pad, it does have a home address for him because it's got his file in there.
Excellent. That's another 25 on computers.
Jesus.
I think I can only roll.
computers.
I think I can only roll 25 for some reason.
I mean, it's number 3 that you've rolled so far. What's interesting is you can roll a 1 and still get a 10, which means you can basically log into like any simple computer, and you're really good at surfing the infosphere, looking for simple information.
Does anybody know where this address is?
I do. Apparently.
Well, no, actually, this will take a culture check to. Get down.
That's why I asked.
Can I also make this culture check, GM?
Yeah, you should probably make all of them. Yeah, so you do recognize it as a ring address, kind of on the arm docker district of the outer ring. So it's the area that a lot of the longshoremen, the stevedores kind of call home. Kind of a lower class neighborhood, but not a dangerous one. So is that where you guys are headed now?
Yeah.
Do we know anything about either of the gang's presence in that neighborhood? I asked Gnak about this.
I was about to say, Gnak probably has that general information without having a roll. The level 21 crew, they operate on level 21 of the Spike, which is where Andis, you're from.
That makes sense.
Not your level. You're up a little bit higher, perhaps. Yeah. But the Downside Kings, the down in Downside Kings is the Spike. So they're almost all the major gang activity is down there. It's the lower class, but it's also the crime-ridden area of Absalom Station.
So can I ask a question about Absalom Station?
Please do. I love it so much. I think it's just such a great setting.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm hearing kind of like upper and lower.
Mm-hmm.
Do these roughly sort of hew to upper and lower kind of class, socioeconomic classes within Absalom Station?
Sure. Well, let's break down Absalom just real quick. There are the arms, which are kind of the star-like appendages of the station. I don't know if you guys Google an image of it, we can throw it up and take a peek.
That's a good idea.
There's the arms. Yeah, take a look at the Absalom Station. The eye is the center, and there is a huge park, Jatembe Park, I believe is its name, in the middle, and there's trees, there's fresh air. It's the very rich neighborhood, so that's like downtown Manhattan. If we're talking New York City,
it's like Upper East Side,
yeah, Upper East Side, yeah. It's around the park, of course. Yeah. And then the ring is kind of the boroughs, maybe outside of Manhattan, and that the ring just goes around the dome of the eye. The arms reach out from the ring, and they are mainly for transportation because outside of the station, at any given time, there are hundreds of thousands of ships. Some in like a permanent orbit around the station, some that have like their own little ecologies to them. People live and die on those ships out there. And finally, the Spike, and that's the lower section of Absalom Station that descends from the core. And there's all kinds of crazy stuff down there. It's kind of like an untamed west of Absalom Station. There's rumors of like crazy creatures that stalk around down there. You got sections like the Puddles and Sparks neighborhoods. Sparks is where you live. Puddles is, I think, a place that Chiskus mentioned has a lot of gang activity. Yeah, those are the 5 main sections of Absalom Station. Ring, Arms, Armada, and Spike. This has been Get to Know Absalom Station on News Channel 0.
Love it.
Okay. Great. So
that's helpful. Thank you.
No problem. One of the things I love about the incident at Absalom Station guidebook for the adventure path is it has like 5 or 6 pages just about the station, and it goes into like people and places and things. It's great. I really love our setting. So anytime you have a question,
I want to read it so badly.
So
also,
you,
can I say I really like that it's vague and it says an incident at Absalom Station, and it's not like the Wormwood Mutiny, where it's like, oh, well, I guess we're gonna mutiny.
There's an incident that happens here.
Yes.
yeah, no.
Yeah, I guess I know
maybe,
that. Yeah.
Maybe the incident already happened. Maybe the incident was Durvor Creel's death.
I mean, I would imagine so.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it ever says the incident is blank in the book. I think you're pretty.
This what you're reading is the incident.
Okay, so you guys get to Durvor Creel's apartment. Using the data pad, you're able to just unlock the door. Like the key card is kind of like in the computer. Weep. It's a small unit. It seemed like the dwarf Kreel led a fairly austere lifestyle. The apartment has just a few pieces of furniture, a small kitchen, a bedroom, a wash closet, and that's about it. A little more than that. Here and there are signs that he lived here for maybe 8 here and then slept here. There's like a pile of clothes in the corner, a stack of printed out papers on the kitchen counter, and a small pyramid of Blitzer beer drink cans that sit atop the trash compactor.
Are they empty?
They are empty, and they're like stacked up like a sculpture made of beer cans.
But they're just above the compactor, right?
Yeah, it's literally made into a pyramid above them.
Okay. So like an aesthetically pleasing pyramid, or just
there's some that are like knocked on the ground. He's not perfect. No one is. Come on.
Okay,
We should keep dwelling on this. Can we ask more questions about the pyramid?
Oh my gosh. All right. Alyndra walks over to the printed stack of printed papers and starts reading them.
Sure. Give me a culture check.
Oh gosh.
Seems like, oh wow, 15. Pretty good dice roll.
Yeah,
so,
I've got a +1 to that too.
And you're a smart cookie. It's a lot of very technical paperwork, it looks like. Reading through it, you see some items, a lot of legal notices. Some of them are related to a mining consortium that it seems Durvor Kreel owns stock in, called the Hardscrabble Collective. Some of the other papers look like they are from a lawyer's office, and at the top it's got stationery that says Harvey Smythe, and it's just X's and Z's. It's nothing but X's and Z's.
Is there a data pad or a mechanism on the door that says whether or not he's taken any visitors or had anyone calling for him?
That is something that you can hack the door unit for.
I'm gonna try to do that.
You have computer skill? I do. Right, so a 19 on the die is pretty darn good. +7. Yeah, it looks like the last time the door was opened was days ago. It doesn't hold that much data besides that. It looks like the only access code granted to it that's opened this door in its entire memory is the one that's in his datapad. So it was probably him.
Okay. Well, it looks like the only person who's been here is Kreel.
Yeah.
So there's no crazy guests or anything.
Maybe he left another data pad or something that had to do with our mission.
I have a question for maybe Gnak knows this since he knows the underworld so well. Is there any potential link between this Hardscrabble Collective mining consortium that this guy had stock in and these gangs?
Can I roll a culture check for that?
Oh, great question. Go ahead and make a culture check about Hardscrabble Collective.
So I have rolled a 10. Now
5 plus 5.
5 plus 5. I also, if there's underworld connections, I get a -5 to the other roll, and I have my expertise die that I'm about to roll, which I rolled a 5 on, so I've got a 15.
Drew,
versus...
what is your obsession with 5s?
Great question. Great question.
Yeah, so this is just like general information about mining companies in Absalom Station, but you have heard of the collective, the Hardscrabble Collective, before, believe it or not. It works out of the diaspora, the scattered planetoids and asteroids, like the asteroid belt in the Pact Worlds, in between, I think, Yox and Akaton? I might be wrong about that. It doesn't really have like a single base of operations in the station, but it seems like maybe some of them work out in the Armada, from ships in the Armada, so like all the ships that are outside Absalom Station.
Yeah, these guys are, they work out of a lot of places. The diaspora, you can barely call a planet, let alone a smattering of planetoids. There's so much stuff hidden out there that you just don't know. It's hard to say. But if they're operating in the diaspora, I'm not sure they're operating on the level.
We should keep
You
searching.
also know, with a 15, that the Hardscrabble Collective calls itself a clan. Even more than like a business venture. They seem very connected, almost familial, even though they are not indeed one single family. There's humans, there's dwarves, androids, Yusoki in the collective. But it seems like a very tight-knit group. On the papers, if you continue to look, there seems to be some legal paperwork from this law office that looks like it might be some kind of final paperwork on a lawsuit between the Hardscrabble Collective and another company, and they're relating to like work-related death of someone, and it says the name is Loretta Kreel.
Oh, that's a name we know.
Yep. Last name same as Durivor. The defendant, the other mining company listed in the legal documents, is Astral Extractions.
Can I do a culture check to see if I know anything about that?
Astral Extractions. Yeah, go ahead. We're finding all kinds of stuff about fun miners.
Culture checks. People know the stuff.
10. So, unlike the Hardscrabble Collective, which is maybe more in Gnak's purview of understanding, with your culture check, you know very well Astral Extractions is like the big guy. It's the powerful mining conglomerate that has... There's definitely a business office on Absalom Station. You probably have seen them before on your home planet, on Verces. And most of their mining is also out in the diaspora, the Rocky Moons and outer planets out there.
And the name of that company is what?
Astral Extractions.
Astral Extractions.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little on the nose, isn't it?
But yeah, this is like a huge corporation.
Is there any way that we can identify the Gloretta Kreel person that is apparently dead?
Yes, a culture check to recall information about them. Is anybody got culture as a skill? Oh boy,
it's not a class. It's not a class skill for me.
Gnak, what did you roll? What did you roll, Drew?
Gnak rolled a 15 plus 5 for a 20, and again, I can also add a little culture to that. Only a 1 this time. Only a 1.
21. Yeah, so, I mean, you might be getting this from all sources, looking at the papers, maybe you had some general information about Kreel and, like, the name sticks in your head. Loretta Kreel was a miner and very outspoken, kind of like labor rights activist. And looking at these papers, it seems like, they died she died in a mining accident off station, like on a rock somewhere. It does seem like there's a familial relation, same last name, to Durivor, either a cousin or maybe a second cousin.
Can Andis make a search on the interwebs as to whether or not there are any rumors about a connection between... I've just forgotten.
Loretta?
Yeah, Loretta's death.
Loretta's death.
And,
it's Gloretta.
Extraction.
Loretta's death. Go ahead and make a computers check for me. Skill check. And then I swear if you roll 25. Okay, good. Good.
Only a 22.
So you were able to pull up, if you're taking like the maximum amount of time on this computer check, maybe some news stories about the accident, and it was just a freak mining accident. It seems the Hardscrabble Collective was hired, kind of like subcontracted by Astral Extractions, to do some mining work. Very freak accident that caused Gloretta's death. And then there's like another article you're able to pull up about a lawsuit between the two companies regarding unsafe work conditions. Pretty boilerplate kind of minor activity.
Can I take 20 to get like
download everything?
Well, yeah, conspiracy theories on this. Like Like I would like to know. I would like to know all sorts of
rabbit
things.
hole
And
melts
since
in
there's
the
no,
brain.
and since there's no like chance of failure on this, I would just like to really dig into this and really understand it.
Yeah, so, I mean, you can take all the time that you want while everyone's searching around the apartment here, but it doesn't seem like that big of a story. Like, I don't want to belittle the death, but it really does seem like there's not that much attention drawn to it.
Okay.
All right, so what else
just a few
was...
news stories.
Can't hear you when everyone's talking over each other.
Oh, sorry. I said so. Just a few news stories.
Yep. Just the two, really. Rebecca, you had a question?
I was just gonna try to move on because I don't think we're gonna find anything here. So I was wondering what else was in the apartment when we walked in. We found the stack of papers and there was a stack of beer cans. Is that right?
Beer cans and dirty clothes. Doesn't look like it's that lived in.
Dirty
Besides
clothes.
that.
Can we dig through the dirty clothes and see if there's anything like any
Dig
pockets? or-
through his dirty clothes?
Yeah, maybe there are some things in his pockets.
Okay, yeah. So you
We
dig
should all take a
through
look around.
In the bottom of a really, really dirty filled pair of pants is what looks to be a journal.
Oh.
And that's what you find, Alyndra.
Awesome.
All right, I take back my criticism about looking through
What's-
dirty clothes.
Yeah.
That's right.
That shows what, shows what you know. Alyndra, what's it say?
All right, can I read the journal?
Yep. First page, it says, "To be continued."
Oh!
That's what you get. You gave me that one. You gave it to me.
We should. know
That's
this
all the
every
time we have this episode of Investigation Scooby-Doo Inc. Cosmic Crit. Figuring out
My
everything in
favorite
episode
episodes is the soldier.
4. Where is your dice rolls now? That's what I want to know. Hope you guys had a great time. I had a great time. I love chisks. And if you love
Chex Mix
chisks,
is the best.
please
I love chiclets.
tell us how you think it's spelled.
They're very good.
Only if you don't know. Spell it out however you want.
Michael Chiklis was so good on the shield.
We will.
That's a great point, Drew. That's a great point.
I
and
will.
what you got, Tyler?
Oh, I was gonna say I will personally congratulate everybody who tweets a
Saying
box
it
of
so
Chex
wrong
Mix.
too. I'm saying it wrong on
to-
purpose.
Yeah, no. If you tweet a box of Chex Mix to @CosmicCrit, I will personally.
Oh,
We'll figure
Be
out.
happy.
We'll figure out a prize for anybody.
That is a great point. I will retweet anybody who tweets a box of Chex Mix to @CosmicCrit.
Yeah, that's gonna get a like. That's gonna. I mean, who knows? Is the
I'm sorry,
greatest
guys.
Twitter
Legal has
person of
just
all time.
informed me we have to mention that we are sponsored by Chex Mix. This episode,
Absolutely.
I was trying to
the
find that
delicious
fine line.
snack. If you like dry cracker like stuff, grab a box of Chex Mix.
You know
Well,
who loves
if you
Chex. Honestly, you know who loves Chex Mix probably more than anybody else. Michael Chiklis. Michael Chiklis loves Chex Mix.
Chiklis's Chex Mix is who sponsors us this week. It's Michael Chiklis's Chex Mix.
Pretty sure he calls it
You know-
Chix Mix.
Years ago, Edris was going through a really hard time, and I know something that really got him through that hard time was eating several boxes of Chex Mix at a single sitting.
Thank
Really.
God.
It really helped bring his, it helped remind him that it's the little things that we have to appreciate, like Chex Mix.
I'm
All
just
the
sad.
big things are going wrong.
A little bit. It's all about what's inside. It's air.
Anytime you guys want me to stop this, just tag out.
I've wanted this to end for a while now.
I'm just sad that Patrick is going to cut all of this out.
No, he's not. This is where the gold is. Okay, it's
None of that
platinum.
was gold.
We've been digging
That
for
was
3
so
hours.
gold.
We just found
Guys,
the gold.
guys, it's not gold. It's the golden corn flavor.
In a
Chex
turd. In a
Mix.
turd.
I want to
Is that what you're
cry.
saying?
Bring it right back. Bring it right back. Okay. Thank you guys for the rousing discussion, the great game, and I cannot wait to keep playing next week. Episode 5 coming at you. Everyone, say goodnight, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
I can't wait for next week.
We're gonna have some fun.
Whoop, whoop.
Hi there, Rebecca, who plays Alyndra here. And I've got Drew with me,
Hello.
who plays Gnak. And we went to DragonCon this year, as we do every year, because it's great fun. And it's been a bit of a different DragonCon. We're actually halfway through right now, but it's been a little bit different from years previous because we actually have a reason to go to the tabletop RPG area,
Imagine
which is
that.
unusual for us. Yeah, so we've spent quite a bit of time down there. I want to start by talking about a couple of the panels that we went to. So we went to a Paizo panel and a Starfinder specific panel. They were one right after each other. And Jason Bowman, the director of game design, and Eric Mona, the chief creative officer and publisher of Paizo, led both of these two panels. It was really cool. What were some of the highlights for you, Drew?
Yeah, so some of the stuff that they were talking about was known. Of course, the out-of-stockedness of just about everything Starfinder related right now going to happen for another month and a half at least. But one of the coolest things that they showed was the Alien Archive, which is the new book that is coming out later this year. Every creature gets a 2-page spread, and one of the coolest things that they showed was that if it is a sentient creature or sentient alien, they already have the sort of stat block and rules for this character, creature, whatever, alien. So you can actually play as that. They have all of the regulations to make these player characters and not just NPCs. So if you wanted to be a sentient brain with tentacles and a gun, you have the stat block to do that come September, which is awesome. And
yeah, I learned that they are just as obsessed with contemplatives as we are. The like floating brain things.
Of course
they're really
they
excited about
are.
it.
Why would they not be? And the other side of that is that the Alien Archive looks like it's going to be a yearly release. So next year we'll have Alien Archive Volume 2 and potentially Volume 3 the year after that, so on and so forth. So this one is a little smaller than your typical Pathfinder bestiary book, but with more detailed information and bigger art and the promise of more to come, which is very cool. The other side of that, they talked a bit about stuff that's already been announced. Nothing too information or too new there, but they did tease a super secret book that's coming out in summer of next year. We have no idea what it is. We know it's not tied to the first adventure path that will still be releasing by that point, but that it is going to be very cool, and we have no idea what it is, but summer. So awesome.
Very exciting.
Yeah. The last thing that I think is super interesting about the full Paizo panel, which is Pathfinder and Starfinder, and just the Starfinder panel, is that the Starfinder panel had more people in it than the full Paizo panel, which I thought was pretty interesting.
Well, and even in the Paizo panel, like, there were obviously some Pathfinder fans, and they were really excited about certain things about Pathfinder that they were announcing were coming out and things like that. But whenever Starfinder was mentioned, it got a round of applause. People are really excited about this game. So.
Yeah, definitely. So that's, I think, it for panels. We should probably switch focus to the other thing that we got to do at DragonCon.
Yeah, so we started, as soon as we got to DragonCon, the first thing we did was go to the tabletop RPG area. We went to the Pathfinder Society section, which is also Starfinder Society, and played through a demo of Starfinder Society. So we only got through part of a mission, I think. We played for about an hour and a half, I think.
It was a little bit, yeah, but it was maybe 2. I can't remember the full.
Yeah, so a couple of hours, but I don't think we finished the mission exactly. But we got to try our hand at Starship Combat, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And really interesting and very different from what I kind of expected it to be. I haven't been like reading up on it and things like that, so maybe other people have a little more idea of how it works. But I found it really interesting and sort of fascinating, but also a little bit frustrating, actually, because I was playing as my Solarian. Well, not my Solarian, as the pre-gen Solarian. I found it a little frustrating because I was like, I know how my character works, but she really is not very useful. Well, it was a he. He's really not very useful on the ship because there wasn't a ship role that really seemed right for my stats as a character. And I I felt a little useless. I was playing a gunner and not rolling very well, and my stats were not helping because I don't have any decks. And
yes, I will talk about that. We'll talk about the second time that we got to play. But I was playing an Envoy pre-gen, and I kept in the main game rolling for things that I know that Gnak has stats in, but that the pre-gen did not. So I was getting frustrated that my expertise die wasn't gonna work.
Yeah. Well, I was really referring to the fact that with Starship Combat, I couldn't use my Solarian abilities. Like, they had no bearing on the Starship Combat part of it, you know? Like,
Yeah.
I tend to want to go and just slash at things, and it's a little frustrating that I can't do that, you know, out in space against the spaceship.
So I will say, if what we have played so far of Starfinder is more on the side of Star Wars, the Starship Combat is definitely more on the side of Star Trek. Movement is very important. Positioning your ship is very important, and in ways that you don't really think about too much. I think in standard combat, we are like basically, okay, we run up, we get to a point where we can attack an enemy, and we attack the enemy until it's dead. But in Starship Combat, it doesn't really work out that way. There, you gotta move around, and everybody's moving, and it's much more of a mobile thing.
Well, and it's a lot more team tactics. I think we anyway tend to kind of do our own thing in combat. Like, well, Edris is going to go over here, and Alyndra's going to go over here.
Raimi's going to shoot somebody that's not involved in the combat.
Right. I mean, we talk a little bit, but it's not like we have to be on the same page. But with Starship Combat, the whole crew kind of has to be on the same page. You know, like we all contribute to, all right, so where is the pilot going to move next? And how can we as a team really get in a position that we can play our roles effectively?
Do we want to energize the shields or energize the weapons? Or boost
and it's all for the same purpose, you know. And actually, speaking of starships, one of the things that the Paizo guys mentioned was that they really want the starship itself to be almost like a character in the party, with a name and everything. And in our games, our starships had names. In the second one, we got to name it ourselves, which was kind of fun.
Cool. Much like the Enterprise or the Millennium Falcon or
the Firefly or the Serenity. Sorry.
Yeah. So I also want to throw out, in our first game, we actually got to play with a listener of the show, John, who was an awesome dude and a really great player. We had a really good time.
Yeah, it was fun. There was a good mix of role play and just trying to learn Starfinder. Of course, with both of our groups, the GMs were not super familiar with Starfinder either. I mean, it's a brand new game, you know?
Yeah.
None of us have had a whole lot of experience with it. So I think that we were all kind of trying to figure out, like, what are the rules? How do we play this? So it'll be interesting to play again next year when we've all had a year under our belts with the rules in the game.
Yeah. We also, the next morning, got up super early, which for DragonCon is difficult. But we made it to an actual Starfinder Society playthrough of a full, I guess, campaign module, whatever you want to call it. I don't know what this...
It's a quest or a mission.
Yeah. And we actually played different characters at that point, and we played with a wonderful group of people, a family of 4, and us as 2 pre-gen characters, and another guy who had just created his character that morning on the Starfinder Society site. And it was I ended up playing the Obazaya, the Vesk soldier.
And I played Raya, the Technomancer. It was a lot of fun, and it's actually really fun to shoot magic missiles.
You don't have to roll for hit for those; they automatically hit. It's great.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
But it was a really cool experience there, and also a little frustrating just not knowing enough about how this different character plays and switching into, okay, I can roll this for culture. Nope, can't do that. I can roll this sense mode. Nope, not going to be able to do that.
Yeah, going back to Starship Combat, though, I was saying earlier that I felt like my Solarian couldn't really plug in a meaningful way, but I felt totally differently about my Technomancer because she was really good at computers and engineering. So she was an excellent science officer because that really relies on computer skill.
Yeah, and I was a gunner in that second one, and I don't want to spoil anything about either of these fights. I will say that the two Starship fights we had were very similar in some ways, but very different. One was very much a one-on-one tense experience where everything was pretty straightforward and what your goal was. The other was more of a thought process. How do we go about this? What is the order of operations for how we need to attack this target? And it was very, very, very different, very fascinating. And I will also say we had a weapon that had limited ammo, and we failed so many of those rolls. It was so frustrating.
Yeah, we rolled really low on both games, actually. Not just us, our entire table,
Yeah.
which I think made it harder.
Yeah. So that was about it. Again, I want to say more, but I don't want to spoil the experience for anybody that out there that might be doing Starfinder Society content. So no spoilers story-wise for you guys.
We are only halfway through DragonCon, so we still have today. And one of the things that we're planning to go to today is Celebrity Starfinder. And Jason is going to be leading that game as GM, which should be really interesting.
Yeah.
Having the lead game designer from Paizo leading the game. With a panel of celebrity guests. So I have no idea who is going to be at the table, but it should be really interesting. He talked about killing characters and things. So
yeah, I'm excited
we'll
to see.
report back on that.
Yeah, we might be live tweeting it, although this is going to go up after it's all over anyway. So go back and check our Twitter. So with that, we are going to round out another crit bit. We got to get a better name for that. So we'll see you next time, Starfinders.
Yeah.
You've been listening to Cosmic Crit. If you like what you hear and want to know more, find us online at cosmiccrit.com. Follow us online at Cosmic Crit on the Twitter and the Instagram, or send us an email at cosmiccrit@gmail.com. Our theme music is Epic Song by the band Alpha Brutal. You can find them online at alphabrutal.bandcamp.com. Thanks for listening, and until next time, may all your crits be Cosmic Crits.